Hi, and welcome to Pathfinder Mastermind. My name is Wendy Rosenthal, and I am your co-host along with my fellow Pathfinder, Rachel Madar. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. And it's always great to be with you, Wendy.
It's always great to be with you, Rachel, and I say that from truth and from the bottom of my heart. So when we decide we have something really exciting and fun to talk about, we pop up here on Facebook to share with you what we do, and not only what we do, but the concept of bringing spirituality into your business consciousness. We like to bridge the gap between the metaphysical and the physical, the spiritual with the practical, and we work with our clients to help them infuse this spiritual consciousness into their business practice. We believe firmly that when you do that, the profitability of that decision is huge, and the return on your investment into the spiritual thinking is far exceeds whatever you can imagine. Today, we wanted to talk about something that happens every single day in business, right?
Yeah.
In
our life.
In our life, exactly. But for sure, every day in our business, we are faced with decisions that we need to make. And, I'm sure all of us, Rachel, we all ask ourselves, is this the right decision? Is it the wrong decision? Especially when they're tough, especially when you have maybe an employee's life, meaning, like livelihood hanging in the balance, or a decision about whether your business is going in the right direction. And these decisions can be very hard. And so we wanted to explore a little bit from a spiritual perspective. What is decision making? Like, how does it work spiritually? What's the point behind it? And then to give you some practical tips on how to ensure that you're going to be able to make the best possible decision at the moment. So you want to stay tuned until the end, because that's when you get the tips. All right. So Rachel, I'm okay with making decisions. Like, I'm one of those people probably that jumps before I actually think it through, more than sitting back and mulling it over. So it was an interesting thing for me to learn how to take this concept of how to make a spiritual decision and put it into practice in my life, because I'm kind of one of those people. It's like, oh, let's just do this, right? So can you share a little bit about when we're talking about decision making spiritually, what we're talking about?
Sure. When you mention about you, that you're quick to make a decision because this is your nature. And since we speak about spirituality in business, I hope that I'm not going to push any buttons to people. But when we talk about spirituality, we must see also it's really connected to our essence and to the nature of the person himself. Like, even of his birth sign, I must say. You an Aries, I'm a Capricorn, for the sake of the conversation. As an Aries,
you're a little bit slower about decisions than
exactly,
me, right?
Exactly. So that's what I want to say. Like, I'm not a quick person who makes the decision.
Right.
I'm going through a whole process in my mind. And you know what? And sometimes I've realized that I've made in different instances the wrong decision.
Right.
And so just here between us, we see like two different characters, right? Because as you as an Aries sign, it's very easy for Aries to make decisions. It's like, because the process of going from the thought, the idea, the process of going through the feelings and emotion that relates to this idea, and finally making that decision that bring us into manifestation and action is very easier process and faster process for Aries sign, for example. For Capricorn, like me, it takes time, sometimes too long, because what's happening in the process of making a decision, that a good decision is basically a decision that moving us forward to make an action. So this is what we refer to, right? So for me, for example, what's delaying me? It's the emotions. It's the middle process of the doubt. Is it the right thing? It's not the right thing. Should I? Shouldn't I? And I'm sure that many of us, like, if we just separate all our audience into two people, like Wendy type and Rachel type. So you can see like all the doubts. So whenever I go through this process of is it the right thing or not the right thing, if it we should do, I shouldn't do, I should invest, I shouldn't invest. Okay. I've learned one thing from my teachers is that when you don't know what to do, just pause.
Right.
Pause. It's okay to pause. Let the, as we say, let the universe show you what is that needs to take place.
Well, but also, you know what I wanted to say, it's so true. And this is one of the reasons why we offer some of the services that we do. I wasn't intentionally trying to plug our other services, but this is why we look at astrological charts and with your soul's compass so that, you know, we can see what the nature of our client is and help them work through whatever based on that, how their decision-making process, you know, for example, if you're a Libra, you never make a decision, right? You're going to sit on it for years until you figure out all the angles. So,
and you'll come from a place that you want to please everyone. It's
exactly.
not necessarily for your own benefit, for the other people. So there are many things that relate to making decisions.
Making a decision. But one of the things that I've learned over the years from in spirituality is that really, and correct me if I'm wrong, but truly at the end of the day, if your intention and your consciousness is coming from a place of expanded thinking, expanding beyond yourself, connecting to a bigger picture, then your decision, whatever it is going to be the right one. Now,
it's so true because it's really referred to the intention. And when we are stuck, like I am, when we are stuck sometimes in a place where we do not know what to do, and we do in the pause that I mentioned, what does it mean to pause for a second? It's to go back to the original intention. What was my original intention with this? Was it like a intention, like a selfish intention, or is it like something that it will be a benefit for more people?
Right. So exactly. And when I say that the decision is always right, you know, that makes it sound like if you're coming from the right place, that you get the outcome that you want. And that's not what we're talking about. It's kind of also, you have to reframe what making a right decision is.
True.
So if you come at it from a perspective that if you are taking that pause in that moment and that time, and these are what the tips are related to, how to look at that, and before you make the decision, and you make the decision, right? If the outcome is not what you expected and maybe not what you wanted, it doesn't mean it was the wrong decision, right? So
exactly.
Decisions sometimes are being made to move you forward, or they're happening, or let me say it a different way, they are coming into your life to help you move forward with something.
It's, you know, it's so true what you're saying. It reminds me an example of a conversation I had yesterday. One of my of people I support and guide. She's in the process. I know it's not related to business, but she's in a process of a divorce, and she asked me, I don't understand why it's stuck, like why it's not moving, why this process is not moving. There's so much money that has been wasted with lawyers and trials and everything. I don't know why it's not moving. And I'm going back to what we shared, like when we guide people, right, Wendy, when we always look at not just also the astrological chart and like how the spiritual map is, and we also look on other spiritual tools as well. And for her, one of the things that I've noticed through her date of birth, that she when she's not committed to the goal, she will never achieve that goal, which means all of it is really about the power of commitment in her process.
Right.
When you commit. So then she said, you know what, I'm not really committing to this divorce because I don't know if I want it or not, like deep inside. So when we hesitate, when we say go back to your original intention, is to really go back and understand, what do you really want? Right. What is your really desire? Do you really want this business? Do you really, what are the fears that coming up to you, or the hesitation or the concerns that coming up to you when about to sign this particular deal to,
Right.
you know, so we
Well,
need,
and I also want to say on the flip side, because, you know, coming at it
yes,
from my perspective as being my nature is to just go for things, you know, using these tools, what I learned is it's not about slowing me down. Like the pause and the thinking about it sounds like it's slowing you down.
no,
You can be a very effective business person very quick. And by the way, you can do this in 2 minutes in your mind. Like even if you're sitting in a meeting and somebody asks you to make a
true.
decision, you can even take these tools and like quickly run through them in your mind. So when I started realizing that it wasn't hampering my decision-making abilities, it was enhancing them, to take that moment to reflect on the questions that we're gonna go through in a minute and then make the decision, it made me feel a lot better. Because, you know, it's funny, I have somebody I've worked with in the past very closely, and, you know, I'm the one always pushing forward and she would always be the one sitting back. And sometimes I'd be like, oh my God, can we please just make a decision? Like, let's move on. And so I understand that feeling of like when you really want to rush forward, or if it's your nature to move quickly. This isn't what we're talking about. We're not talking about blocking you either, right? So we're
No,
telling,
because it's a very personal process to each person. It's not
exactly.
like how fast are you and you're making a decision. It's like to bring you to a place where, you know, whenever we talk about making a decision, is like I see like the person. Let's say I see myself every time I'm standing and to make a decision as if I'm standing in front of jump into the water, and we have this question: do I jump or not jumping? Is it the water cold or not? They're pleasant or not? So every time some people will come, just jump and try it out, right? And some, it's not that works for them, but there's a process that we're going through in order to make decision. The idea is like to make it at the end of the process, is really to make it, because otherwise the water is standing and it might stink, right?
Exactly. Well, and also
And
again,
don't
we've
be
talked,
afraid.
and
Yeah.
don't be afraid. And we've talked about it in the past. Oh, I'm sorry. We've talked about it in the past that when you're not attached to the outcome, right? And
Exactly.
that's,
So
and again,
important.
this is the spiritual side of decision making, is decisions are, yes, you have objectives. Yes, you have goals that you need to get to. Fine, make the decision to get you to that goal. It's not about not having the goal. It's about not being attached to when and how that goal ends up coming to you or gets manifested. So really, that's why I can honestly say that when you're coming from the right consciousness with the right intentions, every decision you make is going to be the right decision, regardless of what
Exactly.
the outcome is. Okay.
Exactly.
So let's get
Exactly.
to some the 4 tips that we have. All right.
Yes, please.
So the first one is when you're faced with a decision, any decision, the first thing you want to think about is to ask yourself, who benefits from this decision, right? So if when you're thinking about what the decision is, if you are the only one who benefits from making it, you need to think about it a little bit longer. Okay? So again, spiritually speaking, when we're only thinking about ourselves, that outcome is, even in the short term, if it looks better, it's going to come back to bite you in the tush, to say
Exactly.
it very politely and not very,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
trying to be more professional about how I said that. Okay. The second tip is, does the decision make me uncomfortable? So what do I mean, does it make me uncomfortable? Well, is the decision you're making the easy way out? And when I say the easy way out, is it the easy way out for you? So think about it even in the context of a big company, right?
Right.
If you're making a decision that is comfortable for you, even if it's something like shutting down the company because you don't want to deal with the creditors, if that's easy for you, you're on the wrong path with making a decision that's going to have lasting results, right?
Okay.
So step out of your comfort zone. All right. The third tip is to think about, is my decision based on lack or fear?
So
So,
important. It's so
oh,
important. There's so many things that that holding us back from making any decision in our life because of the fear and the worry of how it will be, what will take place, and we're afraid of taking risks. One of the things that we know in business, especially when as long as we need to take some risk in order to jump into the next level, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter
exactly.
if we will win or we lose in that moment, but we just took the risk. We tried, we played the game. So which means we're not standing in the as an audience. We literally jumping and playing in the field.
Exactly. And when if your decision has any driver of lack or fear in it, then you're creating the scenario where it's going to actually come true in a way. So again, it's not to say, look, if you have $0 in your bank account and you can't pay your bills and you have to make a decision about the business based on that, that's not the lack I'm talking about, right?
Right.
Like that's a decision that you say, okay, look, here's reality. If you're afraid to deal with what might happen, or if you're afraid to borrow money for some reason, or whatever, that's what I'm talking about, where you feel lack. If you are shutting it down a business because you feel like you failed when you maybe haven't, then that's a decision that's coming from lack or fear, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So you need to rethink it if that's what's going on. And then finally, am I open to other people's opinions? So, and I am this is also my nature. Like when I make a decision, I'm like, I kind of don't want to hear anybody else's opinion because I'm fixed on my decision and because I can make it quickly, and even more so. But what I've learned over time and work and spirituality is that if you are close to somebody else's opinion, even if that says you are attached to the outcome.
Exactly.
And when you're attached to the outcome, you're not in the bigger picture. You're not your expanded self.
And let's
So,
talk a little bit about just being attached to the outcome to remind our audience when we spoke about it. But
right.
because when we attach to the outcome, let's say we attach to the result of like earning from this deal X amount of money, or we attach to the outcome by understanding that this particular project will push me to a certain status and I'll be in a respect and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This certain I'm attached to the outcome is like when I know that doing this particular project or being in this particular position will lead me into a new position at work. So when we attach to the outcome, we have fear of losing it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fear of a loss is something that this is what we need to work on. This
Right.
what
So go back
we
to step 3.
yeah. This what we need. Like it will be what it will be, and I'm doing it not for the sake of my position or the money I'm going to earn, because I'm doing it for the sake of, and
Exactly.
you will know for yourself what is it for.
Exactly. And when you're open to other people's opinions, then you are telling the universe you're not attached to whatever the end outcome is. You might be attached, you might be wanting to get to the same goal, but by asking people's opinions and getting their feedback, then you are now receiving from a place of strength, because you want to know, because you want to have other perspective, you want to see things from all sides. So if you're sitting there going, I'm right, this is the decision, I'm right, then you might want to rethink it before you finally make it. Yes. And again, it's funny, I use these 4 things very quickly in my head. Tick, 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 tick. It doesn't mean you have to wait a week. It doesn't anything like that. Once you start to learn to use these tools, these questions that you're asking yourself before a decision comes up, you'll be shocked at how adept you can get with it, how quickly you can activate it, and how quickly the decision to wait on a decision happens. And that's good. And for somebody like me, I don't like that. And I have learned that by doing that, by doing these questions, that even giving myself another day to find out some results or answers, or how I have gone through the process has actually made the decision even better. Also, because I'm stronger for it. Then when I make the decision, I am very confident and I feel that energy behind that confidence. Okay, so really quickly, again, is who benefits from the decision? If it's only me, got to rethink it. Is the decision making me uncomfortable? Meaning, is this the easy way out or not? If it is the easy way out, you might want to rethink it. Is the decision based on lack or fear? If one of those questions come up, yes, you might want to rethink it. And then, am I open to other people's opinions? And if not, then before you make it, you might want to take a beat and rethink it. Okay. And remember, at the end of the day, to not be attached to be attached to the goal and the objective, but not how you get to the goal and the objective. And that, my friends, makes every decision you make the absolute right decision. All right, Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's always a conversation that we keep having with our clients, and it's so important. And if you have any question about what we shared, any experience that you want to share and help the rest of the audience, please do share.
Yes, please do. And you can find us at all of our social media, Facebook and Instagram at Pathfinder1to1. And you can visit our website at pathfinder1to1.com. It's Pathfinder, the number 1 TO and the number 1.com, where you can see our services, what we do, and how we work. And we would love to invite you to visit and reach out if you have any questions. We hope you have a very empowered week in your businesses. And Rachel, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.